Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Atlantic Coast Aesthetics. I'm Matt with ACA, and joining us once again is Dr. Thomas Pane, Chief Medical Officer and founder of Atlantic Coast Aesthetics. And this week's question of the week is Dr. Pane is going to be, somebody's asking about, is Juvederm good to use on the cheeks? And their question is, in more detail, is they have excess skin around the mouth and below the cheek is really bothering them. They've had 1 milliliter of Juvederm already in the upper cheek and corner of the mouth. Where would you suggest to inject to get rid of these folds? Dr. Pane, what would you suggest?
Well, it's a little tricky because it's hard to tell without a picture going on. When you talk about excess skin around the mouth coming down from the corner of the mouth, first of all, you have to make sure that we're not talking about excess skin that ought to be treated with a facelift or something like that. Now, you may have that excess skin and not be interested in a surgical procedure, and that is completely fine. The filler procedures can help to a certain degree, but they won't really affect excess skin. So when you're talking about folds, that's one thing. When you talk about excess skin, that's another. If there's folds coming down from the corner of the mouth, that's probably what we call the marionette lines or sometimes deep commissures. That is well treated with Juvederm. Other things can be used as well. Something like Radiesse is also a possibility. They have a little bit of different profiles in terms of how long they last. The good thing about Juvederm that I like is that if there's also wrinkles around the mouth and lips, that it is fine to put in that location, whereas some of the other materials are best not put in the lips because of the characteristics of the material itself. So if there's been 1 cc, 1 milliliter injected already, you may need another one. One of the issues, like I said, if you're talking about deep folds and you're getting things injected where it's requiring a lot, because the fillers are temporary, sometimes people ought to consider the possibility of fat grafting or some of the other procedures that can give you a more lasting result. Because if you're buying more than 1 cc of the filler at a time and you're doing it often, or even a couple of times a year, you're getting into some cost there. So sometimes you got to consider that. The other procedures, which are, although are a little bit more involved, are pretty cost effective, and they have a long lasting effect that can make it sometimes more worthwhile, but it depends on your individual situation, what's going on, and what your thoughts are on the different treatment options. So just something to consider. But I think that's it's a good overview of what we were talking about here. It should cover that question pretty well.
Well, thank you, Dr. Pane. And if you have a question for the doctor, please reach out to us on our Facebook page or website. And Dr. Pane, we appreciate your time, and we'll see you on the next question.
Great.